hates Palestinians, has no interest in America, has no interest in serving the American people. He's just a big fat slob, embezzling money from the Israeli AIPAC fund to get reelected, and has no interest in helping American people. And this translates over to Rubio and Vivek. Oh, Vivek, let's put Vivek on a pedestal. Now look at what we got. We're exposing the truckers. We're exposing H-1B. They're talking about, there's people who are literally quoting the general and Rush word for word, saying it's not even illegal immigrants. I don't want any immigrants. I don't want legal immigrants. I don't want illegal immigrants. I don't want H-1B visa. I don't want any of it anymore. And this is strange, because if we would have shot down Vivek, if we would have shot down these people, there's no exposing their crimes. There's no calling them Ram a scammer, because they would have gone away, and then you would have got some other puppet to step in. No, let the puppet rise to the top. Let's expose him. Let's put him on the biggest stage. Let's put him in an American flag shirt with a stupid ass Texas hat on and dress him up like a cowboy, and then let's put a spotlight on him and show just how freaking corrupt these people are, as they push with 1.5 million people or 2 million people to absolve a guy of triple murder in trucking and all these offenses of rape and molestation around our countries. They're around here doing this, and these politicians specifically speak up for their people, and it exposes it to the American people that they're not our people. They're not American citizens, even American loyal. They're the enemy of America taking in America. Rashida Tlaib is another example. She's not an American. The goofball in New York, a communist, he's not an American, but he's letting these people get what they want, and it's ultimately waking people up. If we didn't swing far left, we would never be so far right. These people would have trickled into our country to the point where, hey man, how did we quietly lose our majority? How did we quietly lose our rights? It's getting loud out here, and that's a great thing. I think it needs to get loud so we can get back to getting peace. And if that comes through war, so be it. We've got to fight wars, guys. Men, if you're in here, we've got to fight wars. I know if you're 30, 35, 40, I know you guys are thinking, I won't get drafted. Fuck that. I'm not letting an 18 or 20 or a 22-year-old kid run down the fucking battlefield without me. I'm telling you right now, if it comes to fucking war, and if we're going to war in this country, we're all going to fucking war for this country. And we're kicking every last one of these fucking people out. It is not going to be a matter of like, well, I get to sit this one out because I've lost a fucking eye. I can't see half of the things that people can see. I've got a little bit of blurriness, and I'm still gonna pick up a gun and run with it, because if we don't, we're gonna lose the country. We're gonna lose this thing, and we're gonna lose the most beautiful and amazing country in the world. Why? Because we wanted to open borders and let freaking the propaganda machine run wild on us. And we're going to continue, like, we could just tear down the freaking mainstream media overnight. And we have really, the General and Nick Fuentes and some of these other big voices have torn down the mainstream media. They've ripped it to shreds, and they're trying to cancel these people, and they can't do it. They're using their talking points. You've got this platform is growing every single morning. People from investing groups are now getting involved in politics. People from gold and silver groups are coming over here. People who want to know who they are coming to this space. And we need to keep pushing this space. You need to keep advertising this space. If you haven't retweeted this space twice today, you've got something wrong with you. You need to get your followers in here. You need to teach your people the right way to do things and the right message. And if we don't grow this space and grow this movement, we're just going to be stuck in mud. Push this thing. This is our voice. This is our collective, and this is what our politicians are using as their standard now. They're using these words in these space calls. You're seeing it come out 1, 2, 3 days later, things that are said in this space in the morning show. So we need to get everyone else participating in this show.
Can I ask you something? Do you think that Trump will endorse J.D. Vance?
I think he will. I think he will. Again, I don't like J.D. Vance for specific reasons. There's certain things I like about him, and there's certain things I don't like about him. You know, I don't like the fact that, you know, he has his family situation, and he seems to be more loyal to them than to us. But at the same time, he's pushing hard for free speech in Europe. He's an advocate, a super hard advocate for free speech in Europe. So I can't like. There's days I flip a coin with J.D. Vance. Some days I like him, some days I don't. Some days I think he's doing the right thing. Sometimes I think he's got a bias towards his marriage choices, and it's not a good thing to be compromised that way. So can I trust him as an American president? No. I would not trust him as an American president because he's not an American. He doesn't have an American family. You know, Usha is Indian. His kid's name is Vivek. He's chosen, you know, his Indian family. He doesn't like white people. When you come out and say that stuff in Hillbilly Elegy and say that stuff in your book that you're not proud of your white family and you do anything to get away from white people, it kind of makes you like think to yourself like, okay, like what does that entail in the next presidency? I mean, I don't know who we're going to endorse. If it's going to be Thomas Massey, there is no perfect candidate in my eyes. There's no perfect candidate. So, and there is no Caesar. We desperately need a Caesar, in my opinion. We need someone strong. We need a militant, vocal, powerful leader that's going to who's going to who will take corruption on much more violently and strongly than
we need Vlad the Impaler. That's what we need.
Bro, that would be amazing.
Can I just jump in real quick? I just wanted to say, Shoika, absolutely excellent dissertation as always, and I covet your ability to be so eloquent about covering so many details of explaining your point. And the reason I jump in is because I agree with you on everything. And to address Ivy specifically, you have to. It's not the problem, Ivy. It's just an explanation of what it seems that you keep bringing up as far as individually trying to figure Trump out. And if I'm not mistaken, what is an explanation of how he is, whether craftily or subconsciously or in some way, dealing with being compromised and wanting something to happen. He has been, in my view, from what I've seen, very absolutely impressive of putting all of these people out instead of shutting them down. What he's done, like Soyka said, is he lets them run. He's literally, like he posted up time ago, he is radical. So instead of him wanting him doing it,
it's like a wind tunnel, Rev. It's pretty bad.
Sorry, I'm talking now. Basically, what he's doing is nothing more than making the people's will come forward and not be ignored. He's forcing the people to rise up instead of just him fighting alone. Thanks.
Yeah, I mean, we heard you a little bit there, Rev, at the end. Yeah, he is waking the people up, and we need that. The people have to be behind the government right now more than any other time in American history. I mean, we have to go and join ICE if we can, and if our government does go to war with Mexico, I mean, and they need more troops, definitely we'll go join the military. I don't think it's going to come down to that. I think that will be a very quick war, and it'll be over within a couple weeks or a week, because it'll just be a bombing campaign, and we'll bomb those cartels into non-existence. My one worry is we've given away so many munitions to Israel as far as bombing munitions, and so many rockets to Ukraine that our armament is low. That's exactly what the global homo wants, is just spin all that up and produce a ton more of that stuff, and the global military industrial complex will make out like crazy. But Soik, I appreciate you getting your family. I got family that listen also, and that's why we're trying to clean up the show a little bit, clean up the rhetoric a little bit. I mean, it is a very palatable thing, but just dropping the F-bomb, it can throw some people off, and we understand that. So it's important to have a palatable message.
It's not even the F-bombs. They're more worried about my face being present and connections to the city of Chicago, possibly saying like, hey, he's in a space where people said these things and he agrees with these people, and me losing a job or the family getting a reputation. And I'm like, listen, I don't give a fuck if dude, I live in a city that's being destroyed by the mayor, that's being siphoned off by the governor. The governor is shipping immigrants in. His family owns the hotel industry. His wife owns Hyatt. So the immigrants go in the hotel, and the taxpayers pay for the immigrants to stay at the hotel, top dollar, to be fed, clothed, transportation, all that stuff. So that's our governor. And then our mayor is saying that we're going to throw a revolution at the president lately, that he's going to go to war with the president and the National Guard if the National Guard comes in here and tries to shut down the criminal that's going on in Chicago. Like, that's where I live. So, if they fire a hard-working guy who shows up to work 40 hours a week and busts his ass for the people of this city, then okay. I just have to move on in life. I have to find work elsewhere. Maybe Tennessee or Florida until they fix this place.
The DOJ is going after that guy because he made that statement openly stating that he only hires black people. So he's already in hot water with that whole thing. If he goes after anyone who tries to fire anyone, you have one hell of a lawsuit on your hands.
He is that guy, dude. He is totally that guy. And our people, the people we work with are like, can you believe he said that? And then even the people who elected him are like, I can't believe we elected this guy. Because we know exactly who got him elected. He comes from the teachers union. But even they're like, oh my God, why is he saying this stuff? We didn't think he was going to say this stuff. It's like, you didn't know that the BLM, DEI, you didn't know that guy was going to be the BLM, DEI mayor and push all the BLM, DEI stuff? What do you mean? You guys were hanging these flags from your schools. You guys were hanging these flags from government buildings. This stuff in the streets of Chicago, talking about how you were one with the people that burned the city down. And then you put the people in charge who burned the city down and expected them to what? Fix the city? Make it safer? Make it healthier? Make it more business friendly? He has no idea how to do any of that stuff. He's the worst mayor in United States history. But again, it's an act. We've created an actor out of him. He's a better actor than he is a mayor. He's an actor. He's just a puppet actor on stage trying to use a vocabulary that he doesn't even understand himself to explain to Chicagoans and people how things are going to get better, when he knows that none of these policies are actually understood by his constituents, and he has no idea how to fix it either.
He comes from the teachers union. It's pretty bad when Elon Musk is posting out the literacy statistics for inner city Chicago, and that 89% of black students in inner city Chicago are illiterate. Elon Musk has 220 million followers on here, and he's blasting it out to the entire world that inner city Chicago, the blacks can't read. So that's that, and the fact that he comes from the teachers.
The thing is they have rules here that the teachers aren't allowed to interfere, and basically the parents of these kids bully the teachers. So when the kids act like bullies and stand, like you saw that, I don't know if you guys saw that video of the adult teaching their son to like talk back to teachers and like make sure they respect you type thing. Like there's a video out, I'll try and find it, of like this man is like with dreadlocks is telling his son, like, when you go into that school, if you get disrespected by a teacher, you behave this way and you stand up and you make them respect you and you fight back and you tell them this and that. And it's like the kid's like, okay, okay. And he's agreeing to it. He's basically raising that kid to be defiant of the teacher and to tell the teacher what's up. And that's Chicago in a nutshell. That's all of these kids.
Yeah,
all of these kids act the same way.
This is a huge problem. But yeah, Drew, you had your hand up for a long time. I want to jump to Drew real quick. Yeah, finish up this like that.
Let me finish real quick. The teachers like that though, because it makes the teachers not have the responsibility to actually complete the task of teaching. If they just say, well, this is what I have to deal with, now I don't have to teach anymore. You know, I still get my massive paycheck and I still justify my wage because now I have to deal with way more stress. And who wants to deal with this stress to be a teacher? So this is how they justify it, rather than teaching, is to deal. They get paid to deal with stress, not to teach.
Yeah, well, that's why you saw the teachers in Oregon. They ran out in the street chanting math is racist because apparently they can't read, write, or do mathematics. It's just racist. So when the teachers are out there chanting that math is racist, you know you got some serious problems. But yeah, go ahead, Drew, jump in there.
Yeah, I guess I'm going to have to rewind back to what you were going to ask me about the refinery that blew up. It's not necessarily an oil refinery, so to speak. Like, they're not making gasoline or they don't have giant separators over there. But what it is they make their own lubricants. I don't know if any of you guys have ever heard of Super S lubricants. They make motor oil, gear oil, all kinds of stuff, from cleaners, solvents, you name it. And they even make their own like plastic bottles, like injection molding, blow molding, stuff like that. Now, I'm not sure exactly what happened. I'm sure, the time will tell. But a lot of these places, like if you're making plastic molds on the premises, there's always the chance of static spark. Any kind of static. If you're around these chemical processing plants that are turning oil into, let's say, they even make lighter fluid over there, like charcoal lighter fluid. You have one little spark from static electricity, and boom, there goes your whole operation. So it wasn't necessarily like one of these refineries that you see along the coastline of Louisiana, like let's say in Houma or Thibodaux, where they're having pipelines from Canada and from all over the country coming over here to refine the crude oil into gasoline. It's already stuff that's been refined, but they make their own blend of motor oils and you name it, hydraulic fluid, DOT3 brake fluid, any petrochemical, like something else as far as lubricant, and like I said, even lighter fluid. It's still a big blow, and that's up there in Roseland. Kind of like if you look at Louisiana, it would be the top of the toe. You know how the Louisiana is shaped like a boot. Now, the major concern right now over there is not only air quality, but it sits along the Tangipahoa River, and that's where they get water to kind of cool some of these processes. So contamination of the Tangipahoa River and the air quality is really not a good thing. There people up there are really saying that they can taste it in the air. And if you can taste it, like if you can smell it, there's massive contamination. And they should. I don't know if they're telling people to stay in their homes, but if you can smell it in your house, you need to get the hell out of there. But luckily, it's not a refinery, so to speak, like you would see, like I said, along the Gulf Coast. Because if one of those goes out, I don't know if anybody knows how this stuff works, but there's these giant separators. You heat up the oil, and it kind of works like in the same way as like a still. You know, your lighter fluids will rise to the top, like your higher octane of gasoline will rise to the top. Your lower diesel will settle at the bottom, and it all takes a mass amount of cooling. If any of these any of these water pumps give out, and this stuff goes like critical mass, like gets too hot, dude. If people thought that explosion was big, it would be like mushroom cloud type shit that you would see. I don't know if anybody has ever heard of the T2 plant explosion out there in West Texas, but if you have time, go check that out. They actually have videos of this refinery blowing up, and I think it was like something like 50 miles away. People's windshields and the windows on their houses where the glass was breaking just because of the wave from this stuff. So, I mean, it could have been worse. It's really bad for the people up there, I must say, but it could always be worse.
Yeah, I mean, like you said, Drew, it's a very dangerous process. Just a simple, someone having a little bit more static charge in the air and them touching something could set, a major explosion off. Explosive atmospheres, explosive areas. I mean, they're even critical of the type of enclosures and different electronics are used in those areas. I mean, it's extremely dangerous. But yeah, it is the byproducts of oil for gasoline. The oils, the lubricants, and then the plastics and the plastic industry. And I guess once the gasoline's out of you expect for it not to be as combustible. But I mean, it is a dangerous process. But I mean, it is curious though, because we do have a lot of Venezuelans and Mexicans that work in that industry. They're there stealing it. They're people's jobs in Louisiana also. It'll be interesting to see what happens if we do actually go to war with Venezuela, and if there are attacks, terrorist attacks on our infrastructure. I mean, I feel Mexico's already, the cartels have already been committing terrorist attacks over and over. Maybe we're lumping them all in together, when we say the Mexicans, because in many cases the Venezuelans are lumped in with the Mexicans.
It seems like the big issue down here is, while we may not be having, as far as like in my industry, right? We may not have a lot of Mexicans or South Americans, whatever you want to call them, coming into my industry. But what we do have is like companies like National Oilwell Varco. Okay, I'll use this as an example. They a very huge company. They have shops, they have oil rigs, they do all kind of stuff. And what they did down here is they have a machine shop, right? Well, they told everybody that they're going to be closing the machine shop, but they imported these Indians. And what they made the guys do, the laborers do, was they made them train basically their replacements, but they didn't replace them. What they did was they trained these guys, and then they boxed up all the equipment and then shipped it all to India. And now their main source for National Oilwell Varco parts is in India, trained by American workers, and they just closed the shop over here, laid everybody off, and then gave them a little severance deal. So that's kind of what's happening to just some of the industry over here where I'm at. You know, I think it's absolutely disgusting. What these guys should have did was give them the big double barrel middle fingers and say, I'm not training my replacement. Y'all can figure it out on your own. You know, I don't care how much money you give me. I don't care if you give me 4 weeks vacation pay up front. I'm out of here. Like, you can't make me train my replacement, you know. So there is things going on that is very detrimental to the manufacturing side of oil production within America, and it's being outsourced to the Jeets, and it has to stop. It has to come to an end. We can no longer, like, even their metal, the metal that they use for the forgings in order to produce the parts from India, it's inferior metal. Like, I can't even begin to explain us doing NDT testing on some of these bars of metal that we've actually got from India, and it's junk. Like, there's like holes in the bars of metal. There's like cavities in it, and then the process that they use in the foundries, the metal is softer than what it's rated for. Like, let's say you're cutting A105 or A150. It doesn't even have the same Rockwell hardness as something that would be produced in America, and we have to call the manufacturer and say, hey, look, this doesn't match the MTS. Like, what's going on? We're not going to be able to order metal settles, which is good, because there's a Texas-based metal manufacturing called Pride Metals, and all these tariffs that they put on China and all these other people, right, and jacked up the prices of metal coming in, well, it's forcing companies like mine to have to buy American-made iron. You can't. I mean, you know, it's a catch-22 because the guys down here are going to jack up the prices to keep up with the stuff that's being imported. But at least we're using American-produced iron to have American labor making parts for the oil field, so you don't have these problems like you had in the Gulf with, let's say, BP and these blowout preventers, right? We need to stick to American-made stuff, and especially when it comes to American metal. You can't get any better. You can't get any more premium steel than what we have over here. Maybe Germany, you know, with their Bowler line of material, but we make the best stuff. I'll end there.
Right, actually made in America, not just assembled in America. But I've heard of Chinese machinists. I haven't heard of an Indian machinist. I'm pretty sure that's some funny product coming off of that line. I want to test it for fecal matter. I mean, but that is the point. I mean, our nation needs its own sovereignty and production of steel and stainless steel alloys. You know, all those different metals and having those smelting facilities. I mean, it's a strategic interest of the United States to have that production, and we need to bring that back, and we need to have it back in U.S. hands. I mean, it's sickening that U.S. steel is owned by the Japanese, and now they're producing U.S. steel in America, made by Mexicans, and then slapping the Made in America brand on it. I mean, that is a brand. This stands for quality, and we need to uphold that. I mean, it is as important as our flag. But General, if you want to jump in there, or
John's got his hand up.
Yep, John Fisher, welcome to space. Jump in there.
Thank you very much, and a very interesting conversation. And you just, Rush, you just answered a question that's been on my mind for a while. I read an article about right in the height of COVID, that northern Italy was hit hard by COVID because the Chinese had manufacturing factories in northern Italy pumping out leather products, and they were bringing the Chinese workers in. They weren't hiring the Italians. They were bringing the Chinese workers, and every leather product that the Chinese were pumping out had a "Made in Italy" tag attached to it. And that was just one example. The Chinese have factories all over the world, and anywhere they are, whatever country they're in, they slap the label on "Made in India," "Made in," well, not India, but "Made in" whatever country they're in, but it's made by the Chinese. So there's that. And I want to ask Drew a question that's been on my mind too, and also the libs that attack conservatives and the Republicans that are in power now. About the price of gasoline. It hasn't gone down, or has gone down, but not by much, or as much as Trump promised this and Trump promised that, yada yada yada. Everything you described about the refineries and the problems that we're having with these products that are used to make the parts stuff for the refineries, is that also included with the 4 years of Biden's regulations tearing down fossil fuels, and how much time it's going to take for us to address those teardowns of everything fossil fuel related? Is going to take a few years or maybe even more to fix that in order for prices to come down where they should be. What say you?
I mean, you have to even go back before Biden. You have to go back to Obama whenever the Horizon oil spill happened. After that, there was a moratorium of drilling on Louisiana's coast. There was like deep sea drilling. Another thing that came out of it is that our governor in Louisiana allowed. They call them ghost wells, right? You cap off a well, and you're able to then go back years and years later and put a wellhead on it and start up production again. Well, what they did was, if you bought one of these ghost wells, it doesn't even matter who drilled it. Exxon could have drilled it in the 1970s. If you go ahead and buy the lease, you are now responsible for the well itself, and the state can then come into your company for reopening the well. So that there needs to be, they need to scrap that statute in Louisiana law and make it to where, like, okay, if you do have a leaky well, let's figure out a way that we can clean it and get it producing and being a functional well without having to shoot whoever's buying it into oblivion. And now you just still have the same problem, and it's never getting fixed. These environmentalists have definitely screwed up the coastline. They don't want you to drill in California, but California sure wants cheaper gas. Same thing in Alaska. Same. And look, I know it looks ugly. You go swimming on the beach, and then you look out and you see an oil derrick that's 30 miles out. But would you rather have an ugly coastline, or would you rather have actual energy independence, and you don't have to rely on OPEC, which also needs to be scrapped, because that's one of the main contributors of the fluctuation of gasoline prices. But we allow them to control the price. There's nothing really much that our government can do about the gas. All we can do is produce. And the more that we produce, yeah, sure, it'll drop gasoline prices and oil prices, but we have to produce. Like, that's the main thing. If there's no production, like the Keystone Pipeline, right? That's oil that's already being pumped, and all they have to do is pipeline it down here to Louisiana into ERAF, where the global price of liquid natural gas is set, and we can start having this energy independence, and Canada would be in also much better shape than it is now with their own energy. They wouldn't have to be buying these plants, these oil refineries. And it would give Americans jobs. It would revitalize the economy of Louisiana. You know, there's a lot of money that flows down here, but we're one of the poorest states in the union because we just get raped on our natural resources, and we don't get any kind of money back pitched into our economy. So that would definitely help Louisiana, help Canada, and it would help the United States as a whole. And getting away from OPEC that needs to be like front and center when it comes to energy independence. I hope that kind of answers some of your questions.
Well, not only that, you have to look at, like, for example, in Chicago or California, they're adding massive amount of gas tax on top of it in order to not allow the gas prices to drop. So whenever the gas prices do drop, you have these governors or even the mayors of cities jacking up the taxes on the gas. Like when Trump got in there, I think Chicago added like a 60 cents gas tax on it, just to make sure that Trump's claim of lowering gas prices was not going to show, and they could keep demonizing Trump and the Republicans for not lowering gas prices. Because when people go to the pump, they just see the prices are higher. They don't always take into consideration that these governments keep adding all types of taxes to the gas, and that is one of the games that the Democrats have played on this whole thing too. Yeah, John, if you want to respond to that, go ahead.
Thank you, General. Yeah, and first of all, Drew, yes, you answered my question eloquently, and thank you very much for that information. And General, to what you just said, as far as the taxes that the Democrats will slap on, I'm in Florida, and not so much a tax, P&L, Florida Power and Light. During the 4 years of Biden and tearing down of everything fossil fuel related, the Florida Power and Light, that's our electric company, they've been building massive solar farms up and down the Florida Turnpike and up and down I-95. And that price for our electric prices have shot up dramatically. It's not a tax, but we are being taxed for these solar farms to replace fossil fuels. So we're still dealing with that. We will be dealing with that for quite a while. So I'll drop it there.
Well, you mind if I respond to John real quick?
Yeah, go ahead.
Okay, so I was in Miramar Beach, what was that, about a month ago, and we went north just to bypass the tunnel in Mobile. And I couldn't help but notice, I don't know if that's sorghum that you guys grow up there, or I'm not sure exactly what crop, but I saw with my own eyes, I mean, thousands of acres that are being, turned from agrarian society, from growing your own stuff and having crops, to these massive solar farms. And it's the same thing that you're seeing in North Louisiana, southern Arkansas, parts of Mississippi and Alabama, where you have these old family farms that have been within the hands of farmers for generations. They can't keep up with the times, so they're selling their land out because they're making a killing off of this BS renewable energy. I mean, there's nothing renewable about these solar panels. And who knows the extra harm that's doing to our environment. You're sticking a bunch of black mirrors in one of the hottest parts of America and creating more heat. That heat gets radiated into the atmosphere. So who knows what other harm that's causing. And not only that, but dude, we get slammed with hurricanes a lot. You think these solar farms are going to hold up to 120, 130, 140 mile an hour winds? And then who's going to come and fix it? So it's going to be a huge, costly process. Whenever you could just have oil refineries and coal-fired power plants that, if something breaks, boo-hoo, You know, we make valves and flanges and a bunch of pipe. We can have that fixed within a couple of days.
And
It's
by
not
the
going to
way,
be like that.
Those solar panels are made by the Chinese, right?
Yes, sir. Yes, sir. And then they're made with chemicals that are super harmful to the environment. So if these things break and that goes into the soil, well, not only are you polluting the soil, but you could and will be polluting the groundwater and the water table beneath it.
Yeah, it's the leaching of those solar panels. But a lot of that, I blame our government and the global homo working its way into our government and pushing these climate initiatives. It's the subsidies. That's the reason these power plants did this, because the U.S. government was paying them to do it. I mean, they knew they were losing money, but they were getting tax benefits and subsidies from the United States government, so it made economical sense. So they were putting them up everywhere, and we saw what happened in Texas, where they had grid infrastructure failure, as well as everywhere they try to do it, it just is a complete failure. It's the solar panels, the windmills, as well as the biofuel facilities that they've built all across the southeast, that it has just been a strain on the economy, because they spend billions of dollars to build these power plants, and then they never produce. And when really, if they would have just built gas or coal, like you said, it would have been a reliable source of energy, and then people's rates would go down, rather than building a giant facility that's I've known biofuel facilities that have never been turned on. They spent billions of dollars to build it and never turn them on, because it's cheaper to burn coal. It doesn't make economic sense. It's crazy draconian times that we're living in here. But I put up a post on Venezuela. Apparently, it's more than 2 battleships we have off the coast of Venezuela. We have 6 ships off there, and there's a little clip of local Venezuelan police discussing it, and Maduro. There's also another clip that's talking about how Maduro's mobilized 4.5 million of their militia, telling them to get ready to fight. Whether we're going to war with Venezuela and Mexico or not, it seems like Venezuela thinks that we are. So it's pretty crazy times that we're in right now.
And just one thing, just the white pill people real quick on American energy production. I'm part of a project that is one of 2. So it's only the second helium producing well in the entire nation. And then soon, within I would say here in the next coming months, we're going to be. Well, I'm working on the wellheads right now that are going to be one of the first oil producing wells in Lake Panier since the 1980s, since the Lake Panier disaster. So there is headway being made with leasing and for oil exploration, and that is a good thing. This whole energy independence thing is going to take off. It is taking off, and all I can say is drill, baby, drill.
Well, there's another aspect to that too, with Ken Paxton going after BlackRock, State Street, and Vanguard, and he's won that case to the point where a federal judge said that they can be sued for manipulating energy costs. Like John was talking about, how your local energy companies are manipulating the costs in order to push them sky high. They go in and they buy up all the coal mines, shut them down, force people over to like solar energy or whatever else. But to Rush's post up there, if you look at the location of Venezuela and you look at the geographical location to Mexico, it's essentially cutting off that entire shipping lane and having our military there to, number one, secure the Panama Canal, which is very close to there, and to make sure that, you know, we can hit Mexico from the south as well, because it's right there. So now we got our warships at the south of Mexico, right off their coast. They're, you know, we're off the coast of Venezuela, but it takes no time flat for them to be right there against Mexico as well. It's very strategic. But yeah, that's a great post, Rush, and they're gearing up for it. Everyone's gearing up for it, and needs to. You know, Venezuela dumped all of their prison population into the United States as an act of war. They sent all of their degenerates into the United States to attack us, and now we have a nation full of Venezuelans, and now you have their president calling for them to war against us, and they're in the U.S. All these Venezuelans. I mean, Rush, what is the Venezuelan population that was dumped into America? Do you know?
I'm checking it out right now, but it's probably close to 1 million. Let me double check.
Yeah, it was a large number. So they dumped in a massive amount of these people into our country, and they're here. And their government is saying, gear up, wage war. So, you know, they're on our soil. They're here. The enemy's in the gates. True Maga, if you want to jump in there, you had your hand up, then I want to go to Patriot Paul.
Okay. Did you find that number, Rush? The windmill thing it's bad because, like, it just kills the eagles, too. I seen, like, eagles, like, laying on the ground below, and that freaking pissed me off. And then solar panels are just freaking ugly. I just want to say that. They're disgusting looking all over the freaking place. But then I just want to go into this. So, Brandon Johnson, his approval rating, that's the guy in Chicago, it's up from 7% to 26% for some reason. I think you're going to like the end of this last thing I'm going to say. You guys are going to like it. It'll be in about a minute. It'll be done. Poisoned. So 289 murders in the first half of 2024. They're trying to say right now there's only 192 murders, so why do we need Trump to come in there? That's just what they're spewing out over there. And crime is down 14%, and they're saying, you know, now I don't think you guys like the military on the street. I was thinking the police are just handcuffed and they should be able to do their job. You can comment on that in a second. And the last thing I'll say is I just want to read this little thing. It's a one little paragraph. It says, it's worse than him fudging the numbers, because at the heart of Trump's lies is his poisonous racism. He's not really trying to solve crime. He's trying to scare white people, to divide the country, to make the people in suburban and rural America believe that the places where non-whites live are a war zone. So I'll just end there. Thanks for your space. It's awesome.
Well, the reason why Trump is going into all the major cities is because that's where they dumped all these Venezuelans, and all these Latin gangs have come into all our major cities. We're going to war with Venezuela and Mexico and all the cartels down there, and they dumped all. I mean, who do you think goes to prison, guys? In Venezuela, who goes to prison? Who do they put in prison? The gangs, the cartels. That's who's in their prisons. Who did they release into our country? The gangs, the cartels, and to the tune of millions. So now we're going to war with these people, and their own government is supporting them, saying wage war, and they're here. So, like, I don't know what this whole thing is scaring white people about. I mean, you think that white people in America already don't know which areas are not safe to go? Like, it doesn't take a rocket scientist. It's not just white people. You think black people don't know which areas are safe and not safe? Like, all Americans know.
Right, it's a stupid.
Which areas? Yeah, everybody knows which areas are safe and which ones aren't. This is not rocket science. Every single American knows this. Like, I know if I go to Detroit, there's certain areas that you don't want to go into. And everybody in Michigan knows that. This isn't rocket science. And it doesn't matter if you're black, white, Asian, whatever. Everybody knows. So that's a retarded post, whoever made that one. But Patriot Paul, go ahead, jump in there.
Yeah, it's kind of crazy how every damn county outside of the city county is fucking red in this entire United States. It's just our cities, you know. Can't go into certain parts of the city, and it's always the city. You go out in rural America, and it's, you know, nobody's going to cause problems. But yeah, I was listening earlier with the talk about gas prices and whatnot, and it kind of got me about a couple days ago. I blasted one of our state reps here that everybody knows, Jim Jordan, because his dumbass fucking rhino. I used to be a really big fan of this guy, and you know, back in the 45 administration, when all the impeachment shit was going on, Jim Jordan was the one that was spearheading all the committee meetings and fighting back, and he was really good at orating, you know, support for Trump and calling out the left and all their bullshit. And then the 2020 election happened, and all of a sudden Jim Jordan, although still on the cover of his book is a MAGA guy, deep down inside he's really just, I don't know. I don't know if he's deep state or if he's just utterly, I know we're trying to watch what we're saying in our room, especially with the recording, but the R word, I'll leave it at that. He made a post the other day saying gas prices are at their all-time lows since Trump took office, and that's money back in the Americans' pockets, and we have Trump to thank for this. And I'm sitting there thinking, I literally across from I'm looking at the sign right now because I'm outside working in my business, and I've got this Marathon gas station across from me, and it says $3.49 frickin' cents. Now, I know where my gas prices are because I've been in this building for about 4 or 5 years, and I know that the last time it was below, you know, 260 was when Trump was in office last in 2019, 2020. It has not gone. It's fluctuated between 270 and it went down to 270 for like a couple days over the summer. But it's been between 369 and 299 the entire last 6 8 months that Trump's been in office. So for Jim Jordan and all these other fake Republicans, rhinos, whatever you want to call them, you know, they keep saying all these things and pumping up the public and saying lies right to our faces, saying, hey, you know, gas prices are down, grocery prices are down, you can buy eggs again, you can, you know, get a bacon, egg, and cheese biscuit at McDonald's for 99 cents. They're full of shit. That shit's not happening. Like I think it was Drew or whoever said, I mean, if we don't, I've been trying to put this out on blast on a lot of my posts. I heard drill baby drill this entire election campaign last year, and we're not doing it. You know, we got this foreign reliance on foreign oil, and we're not. I'd really like to know what our depleted reserves is back up to, because Biden just ran that into the ground trying to kill the oil industry, or at least kill it in America, which therefore would kill it across the world. But, you know, we got to call out our local reps. You know, everybody thinks it's such a big ordeal, but I called him out that Jim Jordan day, and I'm going to fucking go back on it. Oops, sorry, dropped that phone. I'm going to go back on his page today, and I'm going to send the picture on that post. The one I originally made to him, I think I was up to like 60 or 80 likes, and I don't even know what the impressions were on it, but enough people in my state of Ohio know that Jim Jordan's full of crap right now. But everybody in their own singular states, your own, you know, those are your home states, man. Just call your rep up and see what they're doing, or just check their X account out, because we got to start calling them out. If we don't hold them, you know, their feet to the fire, you know, they'll just keep lying to us. They'll just keep making these BS posts and making it appear like everything's la-di-da and everything's great and hunky-dory, and then we're going to have a 4-year administration of Trump passes by, and we'll have nothing to show for it. I'm, you know how I am with you guys, and you already know my background with it. You know, I'm gung ho and I want to kick Mexico's ass so bad. I want to mask it for it. I'm with Rush on that. That's kind of my like top tier thing. If I could get mass deportations, I would see the Trump administration as a success. But right now, it's all just like small things that are happening. They're executive orders. I don't expect gas prices to ever be what they were like when I was in high school. They're never going to be 99 cents ever again. But to be able to fill up your work truck, if you're working and it takes $150 to fill up your work truck, and you got to fill it up once, maybe sometimes twice a week, that's not feasible. That's not. You can't do that long haul because that's money that you could be putting back in your business. And that's just one example of things. I mean, the housing market. People can't buy homes right now because they're too busy paying high gas prices and other things that are high. Call your state reps, call them out on X. Most of the times they ignore you, but if you come back at them, they start paying attention. And then they can start, hopefully I'm going to get on Jim today. Old Uncle Jim is what I call him. And we're going to get on him. And I hate Ohio now. I'm so sick of this damn state. If anybody knows my whole profile is freaking love Ohio, man. I'm starting to freaking feel like I hate this place, man. It's no wonder everybody's moving to Texas and Florida, but now people can't move to Texas because they're not calling actually they are calling their state reps out, but they're all crazy down there. God, everything's crazy. Black Bill.
Well, no, yeah, go ahead, Rush.
I was just going to say, I got blackpilled on Jim Jordan when he said that we need to increase our number of H-1B visas in orders of magnitude. And I'm with you, Patriot Paul. I thought he was against the deep state and one of our guys, but he is a deep state rhino. Maybe some kind of allegations when he was a wrestling coach, but Jim Jordan is not our guy. Sorry, General, go ahead.
Yeah, no, I was just going to say they got rid of that Ratchet Crockett down there in Texas and also the Al Green. So they've gotten rid of two bad actors out of Texas, thanks to Ken Paxton. Man, Ken Paxton, they should have made that man AG. That guy is just on a tear down there, and he's going after the biggest, baddest people on the planet. I mean, he's going after BlackRock, State Street, and Vanguard as one entity. This is the most powerful entity on the entire planet, beating them. He's going after all these major players. He's kicking out politicians for not doing their job. Like he is. Texas, you guys should be thanking your lucky stars to that guy, because that guy has been just waging war. And if you follow his account, I do, at every single day, he's just like on a tear, just ripping these people apart. And he smacked to him. Like, when he went after Beto, and Beto started crying on here, and he quote posted him and said, cry harder, Lib. We're coming. We're gonna take you guys all out. And he's doing it. He's not just talking. He's doing the heavy lifting there. So it's awesome to see Ken Paxton. They definitely should have made that guy the AG. He's just on fire, and he I don't know what kind of fire was lit under that guy's ass, but he just come out of the chute like a rocket. And yeah, Patriot Paul, if you want to respond, I'm going to Barry.
Yeah, I heard. I mean, I think most of us are just kind of casually following what's going on in Texas with the Ratchet Crockett, whatever the hell, ghetto piece of shit. Sorry. You guys know what I'm preparing for. I'm getting my. I'm not Navy, but I'm definitely Army, and I can't control my my verbiage sometimes. But man, no, like I haven't heard anything like definitive on Crockett losing her seat. And I honestly don't believe that they'll allow it. I think that because she's such a high figure, Al Green, I think he has kind of rubbed everyone in the Lib Party
too much with that censorship and everything. He's always throwing his cane up in the air, and I think they're just done with him. They'll probably try to move someone younger in there on that place, on his spot, and get, because that's what they're reading reading the tea leaves now. They're seeing that, the younger generation, and there's not many on the left side that are going to vote, but they've got to start attracting some in there. But I haven't heard anything definitive that she will actually lose her seat, because I have a feeling they're just going to move her around and keep her. Unless she, all this stupid talk about her running for president, which would be an absolute annihilation. It'd be like Bob Dole getting beaten by Clinton and what was it, by like 80 points in the 90s. I mean, I think it would surpass that butt kicking, which was an unfortunate loss on the good guy's side, but Bob Dole wasn't exactly a great candidate either. But I mean, for having Ratchet Crockett run for president with AOC or someone like they're talking, Newscomb, whatever you want to call him, I don't know. I feel like they're going to keep Crockett in the limelight. I think they're going to keep her seat there. I don't think that she's going to lose it. I think they're going to gain a lot of seats, but I don't know. I don't believe it.
They just redistrict everything. So there's a reason why they waited till they redistrict and then kick these people out. They're going to lose their seats anyways. Now they opened it up for Republicans to go into those spots directly. But Barry, go ahead, jump in there.
Yes, good morning. Good morning. I just wanted to touch on something that the general said and a couple other points. I seen a meme with that Abbott guy chasing Jasmine Crockett in his wheelchair, and she's running, and he's behind her, pushing on her wheels, chasing her down. It was pretty good. It was funny as hell. And I just wanted to say that about that piece of crap. But I wanted to touch on Patriot Paul's point. Out here in North Carolina, I ain't seen the food prices go down or the utility prices go down. If anything, they went up. Property value went up. With the property value going up, that means your insurance goes up, and then that also means your taxes also goes up. So I think the pressure's on all of us in these states. So gas is a little cheaper than it is up in Ohio. We're down to like $2.50, $2.55, so that ain't bad. And now I just wanted to touch on Russia's article that he put out there up on the top. Not only is there 6 ships, but I can guarantee you there's a submarine that's with those ships too. Those ships don't go alone. There's submarines out there too that are heavily armed. So I think that will end up quick on the mainland. The fight will end up quick on the mainland, but we're going to have the terror cells that's going to be in the United States. I think is going to last longer than the actual war in Venezuela and Mexico, and with that said, we've got a lot of these Mexican drivers that are hauling hazmat. So, depending on, how dirty they are, we could be facing a lot of consequences in the United States to be prepared for these, hazmat, accidents and everything else. And so be aware of that. You always look at the placards on the trailer. You can tell if it's either flammable or chemical or corrosive. So always, for you people that ain't aware of it, they got placards on these trailers in the truck, and they're always labeled. You'll see different labels for what it's carrying. So it'd be kind of wise to pay attention to that. But look, I wanna give you all a white pill before I turn over the mic. It's about the U.S. Steel, and Nucor is a U.S. steel plant, and they got several around the United States. They're expanding, and they have a foundry And the thing is, the good news is they're expanding out to West Virginia, and that's spelled NUCOR. And their utility structures and facilities in Utah, Alabama, Indiana, they're expanding. So we are going to see some improvement in our steel, because our quality control is a lot better than China or India or Mexico. And in fact, Nucor bought the steel plant out in Mexico. So even though there's Mexicans working there, we still own it. That's still an American company, and if we have to shut that down because of the war, so be it. We shut that plant down, we move it somewhere else. And so there's a lot of good that is going to come, or is already happening, I should say. And personally, this me. I honestly, I'd like to see us get back into to nuclear plants. I think we'd be a lot more efficient, and I think the prices would come down. But that's all I've got to say. With that, I'm going to turn it over.
Barry, I want to ask you something real quick. As a veteran yourself, I heard Soika saying that he wasn't afraid to go up against these Mexicans, and then he's in between his 30s and 40s. What about you? What's your take on that whole thing?
Well, I'm glad you brought that up, General, because I did want to salute Soika for saying that. I had admired that, and I did mean to mention it, and I'm glad he feels that way, and I think every red-blooded American feels that way. I know I personally do, and I'll do whatever it takes to take out a few. So I personally, I'm old. I got really not much of a family, so it don't matter if I go. I'll do it for the country, so I have no problem doing that. I'll volunteer. I've got the guns. I got the pew-pews.
Yeah, well, that's my point. Every single red-blooded American, doesn't matter if you're Gen Z all the way up until you die, everybody is on board with this. Nobody's gonna just sit down and not participate and sit on the sidelines.
Right, and to hear that Soika's parents are even starting to get involved, and I know it's a tough pill to swallow at first, but just hearing that, it's great to hear. And that Overton window's opening up wider and wider, and we all know the Mexican president there. She's cartel, and that's common knowledge. That's on Main Street media. Now it is, and with the help of this group here, Ethnic Americans bringing this up, people are seeing it. People are taking our cue. And in fact, I even seen somebody put in the back channel yesterday, somebody was trying to use ethnic Americans and saying we're on the brink of war. And somebody in here, I think it was Tracy B, caught it. And he was, one of the little hats, and he was stirring shit using the ethnic Americans, but they shut him down quick. Our people shut him down quick, challenged him, and he changed the name, and then they attacked him some more, and, I believe they shut him down. Tracy may want to speak on that, or somebody else, but yeah, I seen it in the back channels, and it was great to see that. We all come together, fight with each other, but side by side, fight these, these intruders and these invaders and these phony people that are trying to tear us down. We're not going to let it happen. You guys, the General and Rush, have given us the weapons to fight these people, and like with the General asked me, if it comes down to kinetics, hell yeah, I'm in. I wouldn't want to miss it for nothing. And with that said, I see hands wave.
And speaking of subversives, Baby Berry, just so everyone knows, there's an account going around that uses the general's profile photo and uses the terminology ethnic American broadcast. I believe there's 3 of them now that we've seen. Just know that the general is never going to message you and talk about cryptocurrency, guys. Let's be logical and cognitive. And I've seen some people follow him back, and we've tried to message all those people and let them know individually, but be aware of those things. And there's lots of, now that we're dealing with the Indians, we had an Indian in the audience earlier. We're dealing with the scammers, so we need to stay on top of that. But just to black pill you real quick, Baby Berry, Nucor is owned by U.S. Steel. U.S. Steel is owned by Nippon, which is a Japanese-owned company. So, I mean, all that increase of U.S. Steel in America is because Trump has worked with the Japanese to keep their tariffs down if they do infrastructure investments in America. So, I mean, it is great infrastructure steel production in America, but it's owned by the Japanese. It's kind of sad.
God almighty.
But was Tracy, were you next? Did you want to jump in there?
Oh, I just wanted to mention, I went to a space. It was called Ethnic American. So the title, you can't always believe what the titles say. So I go in there, and the guy was a subversive. That's what he was. And Warmonger was going at it with him. And he was talking shit about General, and his message wasn't anything about being ethnic American. It was he was putting it down. So I just took a screenshot of it. I put it in our group chat, and a bunch of us went over there. And yep, he got shut down. So you can be in those spaces, but as soon as they start. We've been listening to you all for a while, and so we have the ear. When I hear something that, not just that it doesn't quite sound right, but it doesn't sound right at all, that's how it starts. And if you listen and you stay, some people could be susceptible to buying into it. So we keep our ears sharp, and then when you start hearing stuff that...
Did you hear when I came in there and started arguing for the general?
I sure did. We shut him down.
And I thought they made friends after that. I mean, not made friends, but they said, no, I'll just be a man. I'll be a man. And I got in the middle. I said, I like both of you guys. I heard him say about the general is like, he talks a little slow, or not slow, but like he wanted a more exciting talk or something like that. But then he started kind of going into the same stuff that General went. But I didn't listen to the whole thing. But did he get shut down? Because I didn't know.
Yeah, he should.
I don't know. There's lots of haters. I mean, we had someone call us an alien in the comments. It's never ending, guys. That shows you it's a palatable message. But it's great that everyone is staying cognitive and staying on top of these things. But I mean, it just shows you have a palatable message.
I didn't mean to cut you off. If you want to.
It's all right. I mean, guys, we built something great here, and there's going to be a lot of people that will try to latch onto it or hijack it or whatever. It's just per the course. This is normal stuff. It's not an issue. If you see it, call them out, whatever. Do whatever you're going to do. But at the end of the day, they're just trying to latch onto something because they can't build anything on their own. So that's what it is.
I was just saying that, I thought he was kind of going the same direction you. I mean, I didn't know that was like your title. I thought he was just talking about ethnic Americans, but I didn't really get into the whole thing. I was just bringing up the normal stuff.
It's not a big deal. We don't have to. Yeah, we don't have to get in on that. It's not a thing. But I mean that guy is just so you know, that guy is Jewish. That was running that space. So that's
okay.
And that's going to be to my other point. What?
Do we lose General? Is that me?
Yeah, I can't hear him.
No, I cut out there for a second. Can you guys hear me now?
Oh yeah, your mic sounds much better now.
Okay, so yeah, they, what John was talking about, how they have, these Chinese plants, and then they come in and then they hire all Chinese, and then they want to put a label on it. This is a case of stolen identity, right? They're trying to steal our identity. When country, they pop up a